Welcome to this Sunday's virtual class, hosted by the Brigham Young University Family History Library at Provo, Utah. Today's class is Beginning Ancestry Series, Part 2, Navigating the Tree, Summary Card, and Profile Page. Our presenter is Nancy Busby. We appreciate her preparation and willingness to share her knowledge on this subject. We'll now turn the time over to Nancy.
Welcome to this class this evening. Today I'm going to be going over navigating the tree in Ancestry and the summary card and a little bit on the profile page. I generally run out of time on this particular presentation. There's a lot to pack in, but if I don't get to everything on the profile page, that's okay. Next week I'll start off with that and make sure we cover everything that we need to. Okay, the first thing I'm going to go over is how to create a new tree in Ancestry. If you take a look at the tree menu, it will be underneath the trees that you have currently added in Ancestry. If you don't have one, then it's going to be at the top of your page. But anyway, so just click on Create and Manage Trees. And that is going to open up this window where you can see the trees that you have on your account. And from here, you can create a new tree. When you click on that, it will open up this window to start a new tree where it wants you to add the home person. So this would be the first person that you add on your tree. When you click on Add a New Person, it's going to prompt you to make some decisions and type some information in. So if you're starting with yourself, they want to know that. I've got, for instance, I have a tree on my Ancestry account that does not even have me on it. So if you're doing that, you would just uncheck that box and add in the information you know about them, their name, their birth date and place, their gender, if they're living or deceased. And it's going to prompt you with some autofill places as you start to type in place names. So that's kind of handy that they've got a pretty good, not a search engine, but a pretty good way to bring up common names that are out there. And click Continue when you're done. And that's going to show that person in the first position on your tree. And the next thing that you'll want to do is add a parent and click on that. Go through the same steps to indicate what the person's name is, where they were born, if they're deceased or living, male or female. If you know death dates or places, go ahead and fill all that in and click Save. All right, after you've entered that parent, one of those parents on your tree, it's going to now prompt you to name this tree. So you can type into the tree the name, whatever you want to name it. And here you'll want to toggle on that checkbox on or off, whether you want to allow other people to see the tree or not. And just remember, people who you mark as living are always hidden in Ancestry. So once you've done that, click Save Tree. Okay, now if you want to navigate between any of the trees you have, that's going to be at the top of your pull down. So you can see here that I've added that tree, and now it shows up on my list of trees that I have available on my account here. Next, I'll go over how to upload a GEDCOM file. I guess if you don't know what a GEDCOM is, you don't need to worry about that too much, but a GEDCOM is a format that that lots of different programs use to download and upload family tree information from one program into another. It looks like we've got a question here that I'm noticing, so I'll go ahead and pause and ask that. What if you almost duplicated two trees? Will you show us how to delete a tree? Yes, I will go over how to delete a tree in this presentation. So thanks for the question. Stay tuned, it's coming up. All right. Now we're going to go back to create and manage trees to upload a GEDCOM. So if you've got a family tree from another program that you want to upload into Ancestry, this is where you will do that under create and manage trees. So just click on upload a GEDCOM file, and it will ask you to choose the file, and you click on that and it will open up your browser so you can select where that file is located. You'll also be prompted to name the tree that you're importing. You've got to decide right now, and you can change this later if you want to, but decide if you want to make this tree public or private. So if you check the box here, that is going to make your tree public. And that means that anybody out there who has an Ancestry, access to Ancestry and has a membership, whether it's paid or free, would be able to view your tree. So you have to kind of decide that as you go along. If you have any notes or details that you want to add about this family tree, you can type them in here. And standard procedure, accepting all of their terms and conditions, and click upload. And it's going to show a bar along the top showing you the progress of the tree being that tree being uploaded. And once it hits 100%, you'll see that it shows up on your list of trees. So here I added the GEDCOM doe tree, and I can see this on my list. Okay, now I'm going to do the tree overview. At the top, once you're in the family tree, looking at the family tree of a specific tree. So in this case, I'm looking at my Busby Tally family tree. So that's got a pull down menu that has a few shortcuts for you. The first one, the top one, view tree, just takes you to this same view. So this is how you can get back into this view if you navigate away. And then if you go down to tree overview, when you click on that, it's going to open up a window that gives you a brief description and what it says. It's an overview of your tree, how many people you have in the tree, how many photos you have attached to people on the tree, stories, any details description that you have about your tree is on here. It also, you can see that it lists the home person on the page. Over there on the right-hand side, I've got George Thomas Tally. You'll see that on the top right. That's my home person. When you click on tree search, and we'll look at this again in kind of a different context, but over on the top right, there is a little bar called tree search. When you click on that, you can always get back to the home person. So you can set this up to be whoever you want in the tree settings, which we'll also take a look at. It also shows you the last person you viewed. So this is a quick way to get back to the last person you were looking at. If you're doing some research or entering information on a specific place in your tree, you can easily get back to that from here as well. And to go back to the tree, I'm just going to click on View Tree. And that will take you back to your tree view. Okay, the next thing I'm going to go over is StoryMaker Studio and Media Gallery. So this is fairly recent in Ancestry, something called StoryMaker Studio, and this is where your media gallery is now housed. So if you've been in Ancestry before and you were going to your media gallery to look at any photos or audio or stories that you've input, this is where you're going to find it. They've got a few different ways to get there, which we'll go over, but StoryMaker Studio is going to get you to your gallery from now on in Ancestry. So this is the third item down on that pull down when you're on your tree view. When you click on StoryMaker Studio, it takes you to this window with this heading called StoryMaker Studio, and this is a great way for you to kind of group pictures. They've got some automatic prompts to help you kind of create ways to tell the story of your family and share that with others, whether it's writing a life history or putting in photos with captions. or any, you can also put in audio of recordings that you've made of someone in your family telling a story, or maybe you've got an old tape of your grandfather telling a part of his life story or something. You can get that down, transferred into a digital format. You can upload that into Ancestry and have it attached to that person as well. Over on the left, I've got circled in red the media gallery. So from the Storymaker Studio, you can get to your media gallery, just your overall media gallery from here by clicking there. You can also just go to the pull down from your family tree view, and you'll see it's the fourth item down that will take you to your media gallery. So when you click on that, it's going to look very similar. There are some subtle differences. That heading Storymaker Studio is still there. It looks to me like Ancestry is going to be transitioning their gallery and this studio, kind of combining them as one entity. But they've still got the media gallery split out right now. So when you click on Media Gallery, this is going to take you to a screen that might be familiar to you if you've used this before. If it's new to you, then this is how it looks now. So they've got a few different ways to view the media that you have. I'm going to pause for just a second and look at a couple of our comments, because I think they're probably good to talk about right now. So Judith is saying that hers says Story Scout and not Storymaker. So it's possible that like I said, I think this is a fairly recent change to Ancestry. So this will be rolling out over time, perhaps. They might still have Story Scout in the pull down menu. I actually watched a video from Roots Tech on some of these changes that they're making. And I don't know if maybe you just need to refresh your screen, but it should be updating to that Storymaker Studio. I believe that went live during Roots Tech in the last week or two. All right, so in the gallery, you can look at all the media you have, or you can toggle between looking at just photos, just stories, just audio, or really any combination. Like you could click, I want to see stories and photos, and it will highlight as you click on both of those. And then this pull down where it says add media, this is where you can add content to your gallery, whether it's the photos, the stories, or the audio. You can also create a story, which is just typing in you're going to type a life story, that kind of thing. All right, so here I am looking at just the photos, just the stories, and just the audio. If you don't have anything added into any of these categories, you'll see you can drag and drop any kind of media, whether into this window here as well. And they've got quite a few filters. This is relatively new also with some of these filters. So depending on the content type or any tags that you have set up, you can filter your media by those categories as well. You can also type in and find a particular person on the tree whose media you want to look at. Michelle was asked, is there a limit to the size of photos, etc.? I am not sure what that limit is, or if there is one. It's a good question. I think it will probably tell you. I think when you go to add the media, it's going to inform you if there is a limit to the size, because I don't know off the top of my head. Okay, you can also sort. You can sort by date and A through Z by the title, to some pretty standard stuff, but that's where you go to sort through your media. You've got a lot out there. Now we'll take a look at hints. So the next one down is all hints, and you can also get there by clicking on the little leaf in the top right hand of the menu. And when you click on either of those, it's going to open up this window that shows all of the hints that are available for you to take a look at. You can sort these hints on the left-hand side by records or by photos or by stories if there's a specific kind of hint that you want to hone in on for your tree. You can also take a look at hints from other member trees. and they've added the 1950 census as one of the specific hint items that you can look at. And then there are some other filters you can click on, filtering by a name of a specific person, or they've got a different sort, some different sort categories also. If you have a lot of hints on your tree, which I think a lot of people do, like I do, it looks like all hints I've got about 12,000 or plus. So using these sorting techniques can be very helpful so you don't get overwhelmed by them all. Now let's take a look at tree settings. Okay, on tree settings, that is going to be on this pull-down menu also. And this is where you go to take a look at your tree information. This is the name of your tree. If you created your tree and you're not happy with what you named it when you created it, under these tree settings is where you can go to change the name of that tree. So if I wanted this to just be the Busby family tree, I could come here and edit that name. And if you didn't put a tree description in, or you want to change the one you put in initially, this is where you can also make that change. You can toggle on and off if you want Ancestry to automatically build stories for the tree. It basically, it's an AI technology, right? It takes the information you've entered about a person and puts those names, places, dates into sentences and creates a little brief story about that person, each person on your tree. So you can turn that on or off as you prefer. And of course, make sure you save your changes when you get to the end of that. From here, you can also set or change the home person on your tree. The home person on your tree is handy to have if you get wandering out there somewhere up the branches of your tree and you want to get back to, maybe you might want to set that as yourself, or maybe you're doing research on a particular person somewhere on your tree and you want to set that as your home person so you can easily, very quickly get to that position. You can also set this to none if you don't want to have a home person. You have that option here. You can also let the program know who you are in the tree, or set it to none if you're not on a particular tree or you don't want to call attention to that. You can set hint preferences. So if you click on the site preferences for hints, you can set up how often you're getting hints, if they're getting emailed to you or not, or if they're just showing up here when you have the program open. So you might want to take a look at that and get those settings set the way that you particularly like. You can also export your tree from Ancestry to a GEDCOM file. This is handy if you want to share your tree with someone else, and you can transfer all that information in this GEDCOM file to someone else. And this is the answer to an earlier question. If I created a tree on accident, where can I delete it? Go to tree settings to delete that tree. So just make sure that you have the name of that tree up here in the top left and delete the tree. Just be aware that it is permanent once you delete it. So be very careful that you are on the tree that you want to delete, because there isn't a way to get it back. It even has a warning here: this action cannot be undone. It will delete everything in there, the people, the photos, the stories that you have associated with that tree. Okay, the next tab over is privacy settings. This is where you can select if you want your tree to be public or private. So you can change that even after you've created your tree. If you created it and made it public, you decide you want to make your tree private, you can come here to change those things. So a public tree, this is a good thing to do if you want to collaborate with others, share your information with others, have them view your tree and share with you the information they have. Always in Ancestry, people you have marked as living are not viewable by others outside of yourself. So just be aware of that. And If you scroll down a little bit, it will tell you about private trees. A private tree means that other members can't open up and view your tree. It doesn't mean that your tree isn't searchable, though, in terms of if you've got a name entered on your tree that has information and names in common with my tree, it might come up as a hint for me that there's someone who has a private tree out there who shares an ancestor on their tree, the same as mine. If you don't want your tree to be found in searches, then you need to come here and check this box. Also, preventing your tree from being found in searches. And once you've made any changes here, make sure you click to save the changes. All right, under tree settings, there is a tab also called invitations. This used to be called sharing. So it's the same thing as what sharing used to be. This is where you can set the preferences and controls over people who are sharing their tree with you or you with others. Actually, I take that back. This particular one is just people you've shared any of your trees with. There's a different place where you see people under create manage trees is where you can see people who've shared trees with you. And you can remove yourself from that. But anyway, over here on the sharing tab, under tree settings, you can see people who you have invited to see your tree. You can give them a nickname. So if you like, I haven't changed any on mine, but like this bottom one, R Klinger, that's my sister. I could type her name in. It's Rachel. I could change that and just have a nickname or a shortcut name that's more familiar to me than what their username might be. So you can edit that here. If it's hard to, like if you're sharing with a lot of different people, sometimes their usernames aren't clear. Their username might be like Pink Basket 93, and you'd be like, well, I don't know who that is. But if you want to type in a nickname for them, it just makes it easier for you to navigate around with who's you've given permission to see your tree. And you can set up their role as either a guest. So they're just there. They have visibility on your tree, or you can set them up as a contributor, somebody who can add information to your tree, or an editor. And this is someone who has the same access to the tree and can make changes and add and delete people just the same as you can. So if you're collaborating with a family member on one of your trees, you might want to make that person an editor, preferably someone you trust that isn't going to do crazy things on your tree. So anyway, you can also here toggle on or off if they're allowed to see living people on your tree. Usually I would say that's off, but there might be occasions where you want, someone who you're sharing your tree with for them to be able to see living people you've entered as well. And you can also remove those permissions from here as well. Under tools, just click on remove if you don't want them to be guest editor or contributor anymore. And then click save changes when you're done there. All right, we're going to go over something called invitations now. So on the pull down, one of the items you'll see is invite, and it is also over here on the top right under tree settings, invite, so you can get to it from either place. This is where you can add people who you want to be able to view your tree, either as a guest, an editor, or a contributor. When you go to invite someone, there are a few different ways to get that invitation out to the person. Once you have determined what role they want to play on your tree and if they can see living people or not, you can see here on the top there are three different options. There's a link, an email, or a username. So right here, I've got it highlighted to the invite link. So if I click on create link, that is going to create this link that I can then copy and just go into my own personal email and email it out to somebody. And then they have that email, they click on the link, they can get in to see your tree. You can also email if you know the email and just want to enter the email in from here, or if you are sharing it with someone who's already in Ancestry and you know their username, you can also click on username and just send it directly to that username's message system within Ancestry. So there's a few different ways to get someone invited to see your tree. Now we're going to go over family group sheets. So the last item on this pull down in your tree view is family group sheets. When you click on that, this is the window you'll see. It is going to have the name of the person who was in the #1 position on your tree. So you'll see here on the tree, I have William Madison Talley in this #1 position on this tree. And when I click on family group, it takes me to his name. All right, so on the family group sheet view, it will show the husband there on the left, and the highlight that's kind of encircling them just shows who's kind of the head of the family on this family group sheet. And from here, you can do a few edits to that family. You can add spouses or add children. On the right is the wife. Above each of them are their parents. So you've got your husband's parents' name and birth and death dates above each of their names. And below them is their marriage information with whatever you've entered onto your tree about that person, about their marriage. And of course, you can add children before you do anything else with this family group sheet. So, this is just a still view we're looking at, but if you scroll down, you can see the whole family and make sure you've got everybody in there and you feel like the information is right. If you need to add someone, you can do that from here. And to print a family group sheet, you just click on print on the top right, and that's going to take you to the option to pick a printer. You can print to a PDF or to a local printer, whatever works for you. But that's how you print a family group sheet. And over on the left is the family tree icon. That takes you back to the tree. But when you click on print, it is going to open up this print window. And this is what the family group sheet looks like in Ancestry. So just select the destination of your printer, or if you want to do a PDF from here, the format, if you want to print all pages or not, just normal print format stuff. And click save or send. And then you'll have that for that family. There's a question, can you change the first name that the family group sheet is based on? Diane, can you be more specific with that question about, can you change the name? Do you mean like pull over my tree here? So right now I've got George Thomas Talley here. If I wanted to print a family group sheet for Jesse, then I click on their name and it brings up this preview summary card. And under the tools, I can say view his family tree. That puts him in the #1 position. And then I can click on family group sheet. So that changes the person. It's on the family group sheet. I hope that answered your question. If not, yeah, okay, great. So that's how you navigate around to get to the person you want. So just put them in that #1 position. Like we see here. We're going to go back. There we go. So just to review from the slides, William is here in this #1 position. If I wanted to print Jeremiah's page, I would click on him, click on the tools, say view tree. That puts Jeremiah in the #1 position. Then I can do the family group sheet from there. There we go. Great question. Thanks. All right. Now, some basic tree navigating. If you're new to Ancestry or really any program out there, I've used a lot of computer programs in my life, and the worst part of starting with a new program or system is figuring out what all the little icons mean, what all the ins and outs are. So that's really what this presentation is doing, to kind of help you get familiar with all those things so that you feel confident moving back and forth in the tree, so that when you get to doing the the hard work, the entering the names, doing the research, you feel comfortable navigating your way around. So we're going to go over some of those things from the tree here. So on the left, you can change the way you're viewing your tree to be in landscape or portrait view by clicking between those two icons. Here we have the kind of the horizontal, or I guess portrait view, that shows a preview. If you've got pictures in there, it's going to show all their pictures and their faces. So this is just a different way to view your tree, looking at it like a traditional pedigree chart or more of a portrait view. And when you're in this portrait view, you're going to see on the bottom left a little navigation window. So I've circled in red here the person who was in the #1 position from that other view, right? So Kinley is his name, and he was in that #1 position. But when you get to this view, you can expand and open up and lots of up and down the tree. So it's kind of handy in that regard to see more people and entire families. But if you want to know who that relationship is being referred back to, they're going to be highlighted in black or dark blue. I'm not sure how easily you can see it, but like underneath each of these little groups of people, it's saying what the relationship is to Kinley. So Kinley's children underneath him, Kinley's nieces and nephews would be one of, if I clicked on that to look at the brothers and sisters, the parents here are Kinley's parents. So that person is kind of the focus person in this view. And then if you open up a lot of these windows or you're zooming in and out, if you're zooming in and out of this view, this window on the left is going to kind of show you where you are in relation to, how you zoomed in and out. Okay, the next 3 buttons, you know what, I'm just gonna pull Ancestry over here again. We're gonna take a look at that. So I think that can be helpful to see if it's new to you. Okay, so I'm going to go to that portrait view or family view. So when I zoom in, over here on the left, you can see there's a little gray box that appears that kind of shows me where I am in relation to all of these different families that I have. So if I'm opening up a lot of these and I want to see all the nieces and nephews or grandchildren of that person. So this kind of shows you how it is designating the people you're looking at are all in relation to the person who is in this dark color here. And then over on the left, you can see that it kind of shows you how many people you have open in that view. And as I zoom in and out, that little box changes. And you can also grab that box and move it around and say, oh, I want to look at this part of the tree. I want to look at that part of the tree. I want to look at this part of the tree when you're zoomed in. So a couple of just handy tips for navigating when you're in this view. As you zoom in, you can grab that little box and move it around to the different people. And that home person or that focus person is always highlighted in black on that little view. So it's a little tiny window over there on the left that might be easy to overlook, but it's actually really handy for navigating around. Okay. All right. The next 3 little icons over here on the left, the top one, it looks like a little house. It is going to take you to your home person. So whoever you've designated, remember we talked about that, you can designate someone in your tree settings to be the home person. If you want to get back to that person, no matter where you are in your tree, you just click home and it takes you right back to that person, puts them in this #1 position. The next one down is a return to whoever one of the most recent people you were looking at. If you hover your mouse on your screen over that, it's going to pop up who that return to person is, so that you know who it's going to return to and if that is a button you want to use or not. The third button down in this little group is the View Tree Viewing Options. So let's take a look at that. When you click on View Tree Viewing Options, it will open up this panel on the right-hand side that gives you a few different options to decide kind of some settings of how you want to, what you do and do not want to view when you're looking at the family tree. So this is something you're just going to have to go in and play with and decide for yourself. There are all of these little icons, the little green leaf for hints, the little blue group of people is your through lines that has to do with DNA. So if you do or do not want to see those show up when you're looking at your tree view tree options in this panel on the right is where you can go to turn those different little icons or labels on and off. You can get to your StoryMaker Studio from this view also. And remember, you can also get to your media gallery from StoryMaker Studio now also. And zooming in and out, I know this seems like a really obvious thing to point out, but the plus and minus magnifying glass that you see in a lot of programs, it is living over here on the left with this group of icons. So many times when I'm helping someone and they're in their ancestry tree, they ask, how do I zoom in and out? They know what they're looking for. They just maybe their eyes weren't drawn to it immediately. Where is that little icon? It's over here on the left. And the last icon is showing DNA relationships on a tree. So that is going to be right here on the left, the very bottom one. It looks like a DNA symbol. That was nice of them, right? Make it as easy as possible. So when you click on that, though, it is going to open up your DNA matches. If you have not done a DNA test in Ancestry, you won't have matches to look at, so you don't need to worry about that. But if you're wondering how to get to your matches when you're in the tree view, that icon is there. It will take you right here to your matches. There is let's see, not the next class I teach, but the one after that, that class is dedicated all to going over DNA and Ancestry and looking at your matches. And we go over all of the different menus and options that are in DNA in that class. So certainly if you haven't already and you have a DNA test linked to your account, you want to go here to start exploring and looking around in that. And then we'll do a deeper dive into navigating the DNA matches in 2 classes from now. All right, moving along, we're going to go to summary card now. So the summary card is what is going to open when you click on a person from your tree view. Okay, I've got a couple of questions about DNA. Let's hold those to the end. If there's time at the end, I will address those 2 questions about DNA. So Brother and Sister Esplin, if you can help me remember to go back to those, and that would be great. Thanks. Okay, when you're on the tree view and you want to look at the person's kind of a preview, and I call it the summary card, you just click on their name. So click on it. It opens up this little preview panel that gives you some basic information about that person. And you've got a few menu items that show up on this panel, which can be really handy when you're navigating around in the tree. First, we'll look at profile. When you click on profile, it takes you to that person's homepage. This is where it has everything about them. This is where you do a search on a specific individual. This is where you look to see who are their parents, who are they married to, who are their kids, what sources do I have attached? Do I have a life story written? Is there anything in the gallery that has to do with this person? Do I have any hints that I can look at for this individual person? So when you're down in the weeds of research on a specific person, you want to go to their profile page. This is how you get to it. The next menu item on that summary card is the search window. This does a search that is specific to that person. So if I clicked on any one of these names on my tree, it's going to open a summary card that's specific to them. And if I click on search, it will run a search in Ancestry on that person. It will open up this page that has all of the search information. You can see their name up here on the top with a little bit of basic information, a list of their children, birth, death, spouse, parents. And then below that is all of the search information that you could possibly find in Ancestry that has to do with a person of that name, of that place, of those dates. So it auto populates the search with all of the information about that person. And it also is going to bring up other trees in Ancestry, other member trees that have a person that is matching the information that you have entered. It will show you those. And then, of course, all of the records that Ancestry has possibly out there. One thing that I really love that Ancestry did, I don't know, a year or two ago, at least to me, that I knew of, is when you have attached a record to a person from Ancestry within your Ancestry tree, it puts up those results right here at the top. So I can really quickly see, oh, okay, from the records that Ancestry has, I have already attached the 1800, the 1810, the 1850 censuses, and some property tax information. I've got 4 records attached to this individual from Ancestry. So it's not going to bring up record suggestions of things you've already attached. It just lists those at the top, and then you can scroll down from there to see if there's any new information or other information you want to look at. I love that. The smart filtering, make sure that is on. I don't know if you can see on the screen, it's kind of small, but it says smart filtering on. Just toggle that on if you don't have it. And next time, the next class is when I do a deep dive into doing searches and kind of entering information and how to do searches. So we'll look more at that time. Okay, so back to their profile page. If you want to get back to your tree, you just click on the tree icon on the top left, or you can click on View in Tree if you've got that menu toolbar up. But up here on the top left is always a quick way to get back to the tree. The next item on the summary card is the Quick Edit. When you click on Quick Edit, it will bring up the basic information about the person, birth, death, whether they're living or died, can change their name. So you can do a quick edit on this person from here also. You need to add in, you found a record that has their death place. You want to add it in. You can do a quick edit directly from your tree view and click Save when you're done. Okay, the last icon is the toolbar. The first item on the toolbar is to view this person in the family tree. So I just showed that kind of as a live demo a little bit ago. If you want to put this person in the number 1 position on your tree, you just click View His Family Tree, and that pops him right here to the front of the tree, and you can see his ancestors, or what you do or do not know, in my case, right there from him. The next one down is to add a relative. So when you click on this, the relative options you have are brother, sister, spouse, or child. So those are people you can add from this quick summary card. The third item down on this tool pull-down menu is Edit Tags. Okay, tags can be a very powerful and helpful thing if you have people who you can categorize in whether it's by location, or perhaps you want to create tags for ancestors who served in the Revolutionary War. You can edit those tags for this person that you have associated with them by clicking on Edit Tags, and it will open up this panel to the right-hand side. It's going to show you what tags you currently have associated with them. So I have a tag that I have checked that says actively researching. So I have 1 tag associated with this person. So looking at the tags for Jesse. So it opens up this little panel over here on the right. You can do lots of things with tags. You can create custom tags. You can tag things according to your DNA relationships. If you click on these, if you go into Ancestry on your account, you can click on these like the research status tags. Those are some predefined tags that Ancestry has, and they have some like that under relationship tags, life experience tags. Custom tags is where you want to say, like, I want to see all my ancestors who are from Ireland, and I've created it, I've tagged them all. Anyway, you can view lists of people based on the way you have tagged them. So this is where you can edit those tags. In the this tag panel, there are a couple other categories, I guess we'll call them. We have notes and comments. Let's see. It looks like I went over the custom tags a little more, so that's good. So create a custom tag. I'll show you an example of that here. If you click on that, you can enter whatever that tag name is. You can put a tag description and then check the box. By checking the box, you just click on that tag and it highlights it for that person listed at the top. And then all of those other tags, you can explore what those kind of auto-defined tags are that Ancestry has, or create your own. Okay, now on to the other categories. So there is a section called notes. I can type notes about this person. It may have to do with the research I'm doing. It may have to do with information that I'm finding about that person, that I learn about them, that I just want to make some notes on. The thing to know that it can only be viewed by you, the owner, and those you have invited to the tree as an editor. So these notes are really your private research notes, we'll say, or any other type of note you want to enter in about a person. That the sky's the limit there. Only you can see it, and anyone you've invited to the tree to be an editor. Comments. Now, comments are a little more of a wild card. Okay, anyone can see comments. Comments are public. So if your tree is public, any comments you make on a deceased person in your tree, they will be public as well. Also, if anyone else comments on your tree, so other Ancestry members who are viewing your tree, they can make comments and anyone can see those comments. So just know, if your tree is private, only people you've invited to view your tree can see your comments. So that's the only way comments is private, is if your tree is private. If your tree is public, it's out there for everyone. And if you make a comment on someone else's tree, just be aware that anyone who can see that tree can see your comment. So just be aware of that as you are making comments on other people's trees. In a comment, you may want to comment on someone's tree like, hi, Joe Brown is on my tree too, and I have some information about his death and marriage. I noticed you only have a birth, his birth date. Maybe you can, I'm just making up something there, but your comments can be anything that you want to be publicly seen out there on the tree. It may be a comment about, there are 5 Bill Williamsons living in the city of Johannesburg. Make sure you keep them separated. Just mostly be aware that those are public comments if the tree is public. And if you need to delete a person from your tree, you can do that from this profile card as well, the summary card. So delete this person, and remember, once they're deleted, they're gone. You get to type it all in again if you delete them. All right, I'd like to go over tree search now. Over on the top right is a button called Tree Search, and when you click on it, this is where you can navigate to your home person. You can type in the name of a person that you want to find. You just start typing. I started typing Will, and it's bringing up all the Wills and Williams and Williamsons. So you can find a person by typing in their name. There are filters that you can turn on and off. If you want to toggle off your tag definitions, you can. If you want to see what the custom tags are, or any of the specific tags that you have associated with the person, you just click on each of them and it will open up this custom tag I have, born in Ireland. I want to see all the people born in Ireland. I just click on that and it takes me to a list of them. There are 3 DNA tags that are auto-created by Ancestry that you can use. These are the life experience tags that you might see. So you can sort by any of these tags if you want to see all of the people who categorize under this. And you have to personally go in and tag each person on your tree to associate with these in order to see them show up on a list. It doesn't automatically rifle through and find these things. You have to personally attach them. Relationship tags. I think these are really nice for, someone died young, people who never married, or couples who didn't have children. I think those are kind of handy to use too. And you have your research status tag, so where you are in your research with this person. You can get to your home person from here. So whoever you've set up, you click on that, boop, it takes you right to it. The last viewed person, quick way to get back to them, and click on that, and it takes you to their person page. So if you click on last viewed, you get to their person page. List of all people. So these are all the people in that tree. You click on that. This is where you can see them listed alphabetically. You can type in their name in order to get to a specific person. So tree search is a quick way to get to an individual. You get back to your tree, you just click on the top left, tree icon. Printing a tree. This is located over there on the top right. When you click on the print button, it's going to open up this window. You've got a few options here, print or create some other type of printed media. But if you click on print, it's going to print your tree in this type of a format. And you also have the option to print into a book, poster, or calendar through Ancestry from this view as well. But you just click print and it opens up your printer options. Select if you want to do a PDF or the printer you want to go to. Okay, opening and closing tree branches. So I don't know if you've noticed, but when I'm looking at my tree, you can see it will automatically open up 1, 2, 3, 4 generations. And then there are these little gray arrows pointing either right or left. The gray arrows that have a gray circle around them mean that there are more generations beyond that person. So when you click on those, it opens up that generation. And if you want to close that generation, the arrow is now pointing to the left, indicating you can close that generation you're looking at. So you just click on that and it closes that up. These arrows that don't have circles mean there are no people currently on the tree beyond this person. And I am going to save profile for the end. I commented at the beginning that, or for next time, I commented at the beginning that getting started with profile, I may or may not have time to, and we're just about out of time now, but I will definitely go over this in our presentation next time. And if you click on my link, you can see this slide deck and kind of go over these things, but it just gives you a brief, quick overview of profile, and we'll go into that more next time. But this takes us to the end, and it's been great having you all here. And next week, I'll be doing profile, searching and adding information in sources. And you are welcome to email me if you have any questions or comments. The presentation for the slide deck is available on NancyBusbyFamilyHistory.com and takes us to the end. Thanks.